And just when you think the amount of cruise news is off the charts, put in Florida, put in Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, we have a decision that will impact cruising. Let's talk about it right now on Island Time. Welcome back to all you Islanders. I hope you're having a great Monday. I thoroughly enjoyed our live session last night. The interaction that we had, giving cruise reviews, tips and tricks, answering questions. It was awesome. If you were there, you know a big story broke right in the middle of our live session. We're going to break the news here formally today, and we will give our analysis, of course. Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings got a great decision yesterday from a federal judge. As a federal judge sided with Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings and their three companies that they can now cruise at 100% vaccinated passengers. That's right, you heard that right. 100% of passengers on Norwegian Cruise Line holding companies can be vaccinated. No kids. Let's talk about it. Here we go. U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams heard both sides late last week, took a couple of days for the decision, and then announced the decision late last night as we were live. Judge Kathleen Williams granted the preliminary injunction, and she says that Norwegian stands enough of a chance of winning its legal battle against Florida that she granted the preliminary injunction. So not only does she grant this injunction that says Norwegian can cruise at 100% capacity, they can ask for those vaccine cards in Florida, and they have no problem doing so. Florida, of course, will probably appeal this. But the big thing as well, the big news is that Judge Williams also thinks that there's enough there that Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings has argued that they could win the case. They could win the case. We're going to see what happens here. Williams also said that the cruise line, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, has demonstrated that public health will be jeopardized if it is required to suspend its vaccination requirement. It absolutely makes sense. Williams said Norwegian was likely to prevail on their First Amendment grounds of freedom of speech for someone to share their vaccine passport info with you, and also under the Dormant Commerce Clause, which limits the ability of states like Florida or any other state to enact laws that substantially burden interstate commerce. That's what Judge Williams had to say. The injunction, it's there. Norwegian, this is big for Norwegian because you probably remember the fight, I guess you could say, that Norwegian and Frank Del Rio had with Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis said, we're not worried about Norwegian Cruise Line. They're not one of the big players anyway. And Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings said, our ships have rudders and engines, and we can take our ships somewhere else. Now, Norwegian is currently sailing out of Seattle, but this is big news because their Norwegian Gem is set to depart from Miami on August the 15th. August the 15th, and it can be now officially a 100% vaccinated cruise. No one under 12 for sure, 100% vaccinated. Here, of course, is what Frank Del Rio had to say, CEO of Norwegian Cruise Line. We welcome today's ruling that allows us to sail with 100% fully vaccinated guests and crew, which we believe is the safest and most prudent way to resume cruise operations amid this global pandemic. They are excited to get started, and you can bet, you better believe they are going to get started first with the Norwegian Gem, and you will see other ships follow. Now, Governor DeSantis, there's a lot going on in Florida right now. If you keep up with the news, you know that. But you better believe this will be appealed, and this is not the end of the story. I invite you now, of course, to subscribe. If you're not an Islander, come be an Islander and ring that bell so that when breaking news happens just like this, you get an alert on your phone. You know there's content out there. You may be able to watch it right then, or maybe you're working, you're doing something with your kids, but at least you know there's a video out there at the end of your day. you can watch it. Now, what does this mean for the rest of the industry? That's what a lot of people asked me last night. There is going to be an impact across the industry, but we already know that Celebrity and Carnival and Royal Caribbean are cruising out of Florida right now. We know that those three major brands are cruising at least 95% capacity, and we know that you've had to show your vaccine card to those companies. You've had to say, yes, I'm vaccinated before you go. When you show up to the terminal, you've had to show your card. So cruise lines are already cruising at least 95% capacity. It was just, does a cruise line, does a business, okay, in Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings have the ability and the authority to say we only want vaccinated people to cruise with us? Right now, that answer is yes. We'll see what it holds out in the future. And it could change, you know how it goes, literally at any time. We will keep you updated as we always do. We have our eyes set on so many different stories. Everything is pretty calm right now across Carnival Cruise Line. In the news that was released there, it seems like people are okay with the mask and testing protocols. They're still going to cruise. We're keeping our eyes on the tropics, as so many islanders are getting ready to cruise next week and the week after, and there is some activity. Don't cancel your cruise. No matter what the weather says right now, don't cancel it. We will talk about what to do in case of a tropical storm or a hurricane. We'll cover that this week. I hope you have a great week, and we will see you tomorrow right here on Island Time.